This 2-in-1 convertible laptop costs 350 bucks and it is for a brand you might have never heard, but it's actually pretty good. So I say we give it a look. Now, it is the Chuwi Minibook X. And now, aside from the crazy price of 350 bucks, it is one of the cheapest 2-in-1 convertible laptops with a touchscreen with Full HD resolution you can buy today in 2024. Now, it is a 2023 model, but I think it might be the best buy today. So I had to try it out. Now, the specs on paper looks pretty good, okay? It has an Intel N100 CPU, which is a 4-core CPU with 12 gigabytes of laptop DDR5 memory and half a terabyte of NvMe SSD. Of course, it's an NvMe because it had to fit into this very tiny enclosure, because this thing is small, which is basically the main point which makes it a good buy, because it has a 10-inch screen and it weighs 900 grams, so under 2 pounds. But going on with the specs, it has a very nice and compact keyboard. Now, the keyboard layout is not really an issue because they also give you stickers, so you can change the layout to wherever you want. For example, me, I'm Italian, I can just put the Italian stickers if I want, and 2 USB-Cs in connectivity. Now, connectivity might be an issue for you guys, so if you want to use regular USBs or like an SD reader or anything like that, you're gonna need a dongle. So unless you want to use this in a very modern way, which is also fine, as using it as just a Wi-Fi laptop where you take everything you need from the internet, budget the price for a USB-C dongle pretty much. Now, this is pretty common with this kind of laptops, and it's the same for the Microsoft Surface Free Go, which is basically the main competitor for this thing. Now, the Surface though costs double at 700 bucks, okay? So where does it lose and where does it beat the Surface? Well, Surface comes in at 650 bucks today with no keyboard, and it is a little bit better if you want to draw or write on it. However, it basically loses on every other front because this thing has an integrated keyboard and touchpad, so it is a little bit better if you're actually using it as a laptop compared to the Surface. The camera is also pretty good. You can take some nice pictures with it, and also you can do Zoom calls and video conferences, even if you need to do them for school. Now, again, you can flip it to 360 degrees, and I think the best use case for it in tablet mode is to use it to watch film or to just scroll through a PDF if you're studying something. And you can also basically underline what you want, but it's not the best to write or to draw on it. I would say definitely not to draw on it, to be honest. Now, battery life is pretty good. It can get you through a full day of lessons, which is nice, to be honest. And speaking about battery, since we are at the Ultimate PSUs and we are a tech channel that does overclocking on PCs after all, I tested CPU-Z for CPU performance, and I have to say I was pretty well impressed by the Intel N100 because it actually has the same performance as a 4th gen desktop i5, and up until a few years ago I was out there making budget builds with those in the 300 to 500 euros range for desktops, so with no monitor, no keyboard, and overclocking them. So it's crazy that today we have that on a laptop paired with DDR5, in my opinion. Also because DDR5, I mean, if you want to get it on desktop, it's like 80 bucks for 16 gigabytes, and here you have 12 gigabytes in such a small enclosure, which is nice. Temperatures on battery while running the stress test were also very good, 50 degrees maximum, which is pretty impressive. But after all, it is a bit chunky, even though it is still slim enough to bring it around, and you can see the copper heatsink through the side. Now, charger-wise, it has a USB-C charger, which is great because not only is the laptop small, which makes it easy to bring around, charger is also small, because very often with old laptops, even if you have a small laptop, you have a massive power brick, and that would basically make transportation very difficult because your charger would weigh more than the laptop itself, making it pointless to be thin and light pretty much. Packaging itself is pretty premium, comes in with pretty much what you would expect from bigger brands, to be honest. It has my full approval, and the materials of the laptop itself feel very premium, honestly. Much better than I was expecting. Now, the laptop comes with Windows 11 pre-installed, so the only thing you have to do is basically open it up, log in with your Chrome profile, and you can use it daily, which also is nice. So with that said, let's move on with the actual conclusions. So, who is this laptop for, and do I actually recommend it? Now, my two main use cases are pretty simple. So I think you're either a student who want to use it to go to lesson and then maybe to play little emulator games, because you can actually play like Square Enix old titles, like I'm a fan of Dragon Quest, you can play that, or you can also play the recently added Android emulation apps on the Windows 11 store, which is nice. Or you want to use it as a travel PC to just bring around because it's very light. You can open it on the go, maybe on a train or on a plane, and do your work on the go. Also, it's pretty cheap, so you don't have to worry too much if you bring it around, and the battery life is great and it has all the benefits we discussed previously. Now, should you buy this or a Surface, or in general a higher range laptop? Well, before we discuss that, you definitely shouldn't buy anything cheaper, because if you buy stuff cheaper, they tend to break, they're not the best. I think this is the entry level to have a good product that will actually work and work for a while. But in my opinion, unless you actually need to draw very precisely on your touchscreen, this thing can actually be better value than a Surface, because you're paying half price for something that can do basically everything if you just have to go to uni and take notes and follow your coursework. And it will also run the little softwares that they give you at university, which is very nice. And if you want to do freelancing and just write a few emails and maybe even use Photoshop at a basic level, this thing is going to work very well. So it has my full approval if you fit in one of those two scenarios or use cases. I also see it well as the first laptop for a kid, to be honest. I think they can have fun, use it as a tablet as well, and scroll through YouTube and enjoy it. But do let me know down below if you had a Chuwi laptop before, if you liked it, if you would recommend it, and just tell me about it. I'm curious to know. And if you watched the video this far, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We cover budget builds and everything you can buy for cheap, basically desktop hardware related. And I hope to see you guys in another video as well. Goodbye.